everybody, welcome back to another video from the Juneau-Douglas City Museum. I'm Niko, I'm the Curator of Collections and Exhibits, and Alyssa is here, our Curator of Public Programs on the camera. Mindy Myers is also here for support as we get out of the museum and go for a walk with 6 feet in between us. We are here outside the House of Wickersham, which is the Wickersham House State Historic Park. It is a state park for Alaska State Parks, and it was built in 1898 by Frank Hammond, and Judge James Wickersham moved here in 1928 and lived here until his death in 1939. It is a contributing property to the Chicken Ridge Historic District. We are here up on 7th Street, also known as Chicken Ridge, with a beautiful view over the channel in downtown Juneau. Unfortunately, it is snowing outside, so you aren't able to actually see the channel in downtown, but you'll just have to trust me, it is beautiful out there. We're going to take a look inside and talk a little bit about Judge James Wickersham. We are here inside the historic House of Wickersham up here on Chicken Ridge overlooking downtown Juneau. And like I said before, it was built in 1898 and is one of the oldest standing residential homes in downtown Juneau. It was the home of Judge James Wickersham from 1928 till he passed away in 1939 and remained in the family under the care of his niece, Ruth Allman, until it was purchased by the state in 1984. It's been operating as a house museum since about the mid-1950s, first in an informal capacity before being purchased by the state and being run as an official house museum. So a house museum is slightly different than a regular museum, mainly that in a house museum it's set up as to reflect a particular time period, usually reflecting a particular person's timeline or a specific moment in history in which the house lived through. So in this case, the house really highlights the years of Judge James Wickersham. James Wickersham was born in Illinois and he moved to Washington when he was a young man. He established a law practice, built a home, had a family, and became a judge, before he was 43. When he was 43 in the year 1900, President McKinley appointed him a U.S. District Judge of Alaska. He was one of 3 judges, and his territory covered 300,000 square miles. So for the entire territory of Alaska, there would be only 3 judges, of which he was one. He, his wife, and his son all moved up here to Alaska, first in Eagle, then to Fairbanks, then here in Juneau, where they would settle for the rest of his life. He was a district judge for about 9 years. When he retired, he then became the first territorial representative to Congress in Washington, D.C. He would serve 7 non-consecutive terms from 1909 to 1933, and his main focus was really trying to push for territorial home rule here in Alaska. What that basically means is that at the time, in the early 1900s, Alaska was a territory of the United States, but really didn't have any control over its own affairs. Everything was appointed by Congress in Washington, D.C. Nothing was voted on here. And in around 1906, what was called the Alaska Syndicate developed, mainly headed by J.P. Morgan and Simon Guggenheim. And they had a monopoly and control over the Kennecott copper mine, steamship and railway lines, and a few salmon canneries. As a result, they became pretty much in control of a lot of the aspects of Alaskan life. People like James Wickersham didn't think that was correct and really thought that the people of Alaska should have more say in how their state was run. He was actually pushed for statehood decades before it became a reality, but his work led to legislation in 1912 that created home rule here in Alaska when we formed our first territorial legislature. That would continue until statehood in 1959. He also pushed for breaking up of that syndicate with Morgan and Guggenheim. That included creating a railroad that went across the state of Alaska, as well as helped form the University of Alaska in its early days. He would tirelessly fight for Alaskan rights, and as a result is widely remembered here in Juneau as an important historical figure. Through his time here, he was constantly pushing for greater and greater control of our own Alaskan resources and laws, and letting our people have a say in our own lives. I think that's a feeling that really continues through today. Us Alaskans are very proud of being Alaskan, and we really want to be able to speak for ourselves at all times. And Judge James Wickersham really pushed that envelope long before it was commonly discussed and considered an important topic. Coming here to the House of Wickersham, normally I would have you speaking with Mary Kay. She is a longtime docent here. She really is the expertise on Judge Wickersham and the House itself. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances, she is not here in Juneau at this time, but will hopefully be returning here in the future. Something that we do want to just highlight with this house is that people continue to visit. People with the last name Wickersham, whether related to the judge or not, really find a connection here and continue to mail different aspects of history to the people here, different postcards, letters, and really memories of other family members and historical events that Wickershams touched the lives of. And so even though this house really focuses on a particular time period, it stretches through to today and really still connects with people, which is really fun to see. So the next time you're in Juneau, once we're able to travel again, make sure you climb up the big hill up here to Chicken Ridge and view the House of Wickersham and have a great time. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.